Hello everybody, and welcome in to the season opener for season 2 of the endurance series we've got here for you at Midwest Esports. We've got 15 drivers here tonight, all looking to make their debut for a brand new season, brand new championship. Some of these guys are going to be wanting to move forward. Some of these guys are going to be looking to defend their positions that they held in the end of last season. So we're going to be a little bit of an interesting one here. Looks like we got a little bit of rain so far for qualifying. Not sure how long that's going to go into the race, but I'll find that out for you as quick as I can. But you see, we've got quite the lineup here tonight. Got a little bit of a mix of everybody. Not seeing everyone out here tonight, but good showing. We got 15, like I said. So it's gonna be an interesting one. Last season we saw Elma Jacko. He's in the Alpine or Aston Martin, excuse me. He won this championship last season. And he was followed closely by Forward, who is now operating in the Ferrari. So Ferrari has got Buck 3123 and Forward 23. Looking to see some impressive stuff from them over this season. It's going to be interesting what they all pull out of the bag, but I mean, I'm sure it's going to be interesting no matter what we got here for you. So yeah, just going to be getting ready to go here soon. Already we're going to see the drivers having a little bit of a tough time out on track trying to manage these conditions here. It's how Fuse Rogue tapped the wall a little bit in that McLaren. And you see Get It to Win It and Fuse Rogue are both going to be operating in the McLaren this season. You're going to be trying to break that curse that the McLaren seems to have over this league here with a little bit of a trouble with some of these guys finishing. But we'll see what they're able to do tonight. And we got a little bit the updated track here. This turn that they're going through right now has been updated. Start of this year. Fuse Rogue is just love playing bumper cars with the wall there. You see a few guys on their out laps now, just going around trying to get their tires warmed up, and they're going to be using the wet tire for the start of this. It looks like this rain's coming down pretty heavily. And his light work here in the Haas is definitely going to be one of those drivers you're going to want to watch throughout this season. I know he's capable of some pretty impressive drives. I've watched him do some myself, and he is not somebody you want to be in front of when he's on a fresh tires. Let me tell you that. He's a very speedy driver. It looks like it's going to be full wet for the entirety of qualifying here. According to my sources, Not Gravity is going to be retired already. Slayer Eyes, No Jug, and Baba Yaga on out laps right now. Keep your eyes on Baba Yaga. He's one of our most improved from last season, and looking to see what he's able to do again this year. Love watching him race. He puts in pretty consistent effort all season long last season, so looking to see him capitalize on that and maybe move forward. You're going to see Lightwork grabbing that slipstream for as long as he can there. Coasting in beautifully. Hasn't had too much trouble with grip so far. Get It to Win is going to set a 134, and then Scorenzi is going to set a 133. Going to be the fastest time on the board there at the Williams side of the garage. Lancey also another faster lap. It's a good showing from Williams so far to get themselves towards the top there. See if they're able to hold on to it as more drivers put in a lap time. Jordam has put in a 135.094. Let's see what Lightwork's able to do as he comes across the line now. Lightwork is going to put it on provisional pole for the moment at 132.6. So a lot of these guys are just wanting to get a good lap time in, surviving. pretty much all but one is going to make it through, but with gravity retiring, as long as everyone sets a lap, they should be good to go on making it through. Slayer Eyes is coming up on a little bit of traffic, which I'm sure they're gonna either be on a flying lap themselves or gonna be getting out of his way here pretty soon. Looks like that would be light work on his in lap, so I imagine he's just gonna get right on out of the way when he needs to, as he does there. So some drivers that I'm going to be keeping my eye on throughout tonight's event and through the majority of the season is definitely going to be El Majacco, Grumpy Old Catman, Buck 3123, and we're going to go in there with a wild card. And you know what? We're gonna save Villeneuve and see what he's able to do for us tonight here. But these guys are all pretty consistent drivers. Seen some of them win championships and some of them just win races. All around, we've got a pretty good roster here for this 100% endurance series, so always excited to see who's going to come out on top any given night. It could be just about anybody. So I see a yellow flag and a McLaren there off in the grass again. Is going to be Fuse Rogue. Looks like he's been struggling a little bit with coming to terms with the grip levels that the track's offering up at the moment. So he may be struggling a little bit in today's race, but I'm sure he'll get himself figured out. Moving on, Grumpy Old Catman is someone I definitely enjoy watching race. He was just a little bit shy of the Constructors' Championship last season, but he's looking to turn that around, is what I've heard. And yeah, pretty consistent, knows how to gauge a good gap, and he's also the winner of the championship for last season in Division 6, I believe it was. So I know he is a proven winner. Here is El Majacco, your reigning champion from last season. Set the fastest Sector 2 time so far, which is not a surprise. See what he's able to do. Keeps himself from invalidating there. Gets right on the line. Good save there. Doesn't want to lose this lap. Definitely want to get your banker lap in first, because you never know with these changing conditions and drivers sliding around a little bit. Could prevent you from putting in another one. So see what time he's able to come up with as he crosses the line, and it is going to be a 133.479, good enough for 7th place at the moment. Not needing to really break into the top 3 or 4 for Q1, obviously. A top 15 driver is all going to move along, so solid lap, I'd say. In these conditions, it's only going to get easier for these guys as the times get faster and faster, as there's a little more grip on track. You're going to see Jose Miguel is going to be on an out lap right now. Goes a little bit off into the grass, just coming to terms with his setup. It looks like there's a little bit of a late join from him. See forward up in the P3 spot with a 132.8 has retired. He thinks that time is going to be fast enough to make it on through. So not sure how much the guys are going to be pushing throughout Q1, as all of them should be able to make it out just fine, aside from Not Gravity, who had not set a lap time. Looks like got a couple more guys joining in as well, and Jose Miguel has invalidated this lap, so I don't think he's invalidated his second lap, but we'll check it back in with him in a minute here. There's Baba Yaga making his way into the pits. He sets a 135.2. He's driving in the Red Bull this season. We saw him in the AlphaTauri last season. So Gohas and DJ Dunk, yes, you guys better represent. Expecting big things from you this season. But Fuse Rogue still down in that 14th spot. Maybe he's not able to come to good terms with his setup here right now. Not sure what's preventing him from getting up there. I know he's a fast and very capable driver, so I'll hopefully see an improvement from him there. Villeneuve is out on a flying lap right now as well. We're right on board with the remainder of this one. He's going through Sector 2 right now. Not going in too aggressively in the corners. You don't want to kick that rear end out, or it will definitely put you inside one of these walls, and that is not how anybody wants their qualifying to go. So with the inclusion of Hawk Sid mid-qualifying, I believe he will be starting from the back. He'll just be able to go out and set himself up with a setup and then return to the pits immediately after that, following regulation. As Buck 3123 sets the new fastest lap with a 132.2, and there we're going to see Fuse Rogue on the start-finish straight there, like a little bit of a problem keeping his wheels attached to his car. So Villeneuve ended up setting a 137.1, so that's good enough for P14 at the moment. You're going to see him safely through, I believe. Was on the go. The 133.6 was good enough for P8. Gonna be putting him in a good spot to continue on here. Got most of these guys in the pits. No Jug out, looking like he wants to improve. Scarenzi is putting on the intermediate tires, looking to maybe gain the edge there. Looks like the rain has died down a little bit, so I imagine the track is gonna be drying off pretty soon here with how many guys are out running these full wet tires. Definitely move some water aside to help with that racing line. So we're going to be having a wet qualifying, and then we're going to have a dry race, what I'm being told by some of these drivers, so it should be an interesting mix. Not sure if anybody went for a wet setup to help them in the qualifying at all, or if they're going to do any fine-tuning with their tire pressures or front wing angles to get the edge in the later parts here. But as No Jug, who's currently with a 131.8, gets a little loose around there, but does well to save it. It was a beautiful save there. Didn't end up losing too much time, and didn't lose a front wing either, which is the most important part. If you're new to our league here, I suggest that you head on over to Instagram or Twitter and find us on there at MidWest Esports. We'll be posting a lot of pictures, race results, things like that, things to watch out for, special events that we do throughout the season. Always something going on, always some fun to be had. And if you're interested in racing, we also have a Discord up. You can find that through any of our social medias as well. A lot of fun with these guys in here. Just breaking into the 300 cap, I believe, for members. So always quite a bit going on. And see, most of these drivers are going to be in the pits now as well. Just a few guys out on track at the moment. My apologies, Catman. It was D4 two seasons back that we saw him up there. So it's switching over and seeing some intermediate runners coming out now. Looking like they want to improve on their laps or just test out the waters a little bit, see what everybody's running. See a lot of drivers going wide at that turn there. Hawksid 17 is who we're on board with right now in the Aston Martin. And he has very recently been promoted up to Division 2 for our Thursday night league racing, so he's more than capable driver. So excited to see what he's got for us tonight. Getting right up close to the walls. Looks like he just barely tapped at it a little bit. Don't think he would have gotten any wing damage from that, but definitely something to watch out for is that wall there is not forgiving in the slightest if you make contact with it too hard. Looks like No Jugs just driving around getting a little bit of practice, as we will see a tire just chilling on the track there, so the lobby's a little bit glitched, and intermediates are just magic. That's all they are. If you know how to use it, you're a wizard, and I refuse to believe anything else. Very, very rarely have I ever had the intermediate work for me, but everyone else seems to do it just fine. But glad to know I'm not the only one, Valentine. So anyone in chat, I want to hear who you guys think is going to be putting it on pole tonight, and who you think is going to be taking the win. Maybe even give me a top 3 podium. Who do you think is going to end up there tonight? So we are going to have 100% races throughout this series here, so there's going to be a little bit different style of driving than some of these guys are going to be used to, where it's not always a mad dash in a turn 1. You want to make sure you're calm, collected, and able to put in consistency over the duration, with not wanting to DNF at any point during this series, because there's not that many races, so it is very easy to lose your positions in the standings. We got 58 laps for you here tonight, and Valentine's saying Lightworks, Scorenzi, and Jacko are going to be taking the podium spots today. I'd have to agree with you there. I think that's a pretty solid lineup right there, all fast drivers. I'm thinking something special from Buck tonight, maybe. And if Lightwork can keep it up on the podium like he seems to be doing with his qualifying times, I think he's definitely going to be a strong contender for the win tonight as well. And you can't count out Majako, the last season's champion, always seems to have a trick up his sleeve. Even when things aren't really going his way, somehow he manages to pull in a good result. So excited to see what he's got for us again tonight. And we are not going to be seeing Cake here tonight, as No Jug is off the track now. It looks like he's sitting just waiting for some of these guys to go through, it looks like. It's nice of him to get off the racing track completely, actually, and just keeping his car creeping forward, not to get disqualified there for sitting there too long. As Buck gets a little bit loose on those intermediates. Not sure how that seems to be working out for him. But we are on to the final part of Q1 at the moment. So whatever lap times these guys are able to reduce right now on this lap is going to be their last shot for qualifying here. Qualifying 1, that is. Not expecting to see too much moving around. A couple more retirements from the pits. These guys pretty happy with their times. Not worried about anybody behind them knocking them down. So we've got ourselves up to 18 in the lobby right now. AW552218 is the last to set a lap time here. We'll see what he's able to come out with as we come across the line now. He's rocking the Alfa Romeo tonight. Bit of a late join. See if he's able to do it, and he puts it on provisional pole with a 131.2 on the intermediate tire. 3/10 clear of No Jug's time on the wet compound, which isn't a huge surprise. The intermediate is a faster tire. It looks like he was able to hook up the grip there and get a good start now. Valentine thinking A-Dub will DNF. I'm sure A-Dub's going to be trying to prove that wrong. So we'll see what he's able to do. But hopefully we'll see some pretty close racing throughout the whole race. We generally end up just seeing that at least a bit. It's generally about 3 or 4 drivers who just can't leave each other alone. Makes for an interesting midfield fight halfway through the race usually, so excited to see some more of that action. And gonna have my trusty spin counter up and ready for any of these guys who feel the need to spin during the race. Be giving them a little bit of grief for that. And we're through with qualifying 1. Be able to pull up those standings there for you in a second. As there you can see it, A-Dub sitting on Provisional pole with a 131.2, followed by No Jug in the Alpine with a 131.5, and Jose Miguel in the AlphaTauri is going to make up your top three, followed by Buck, Lightwork, Lancy, Grumpy Catman, Forward, Scorenzi, and Jacko making up your top 10 for you here. So going to be a pretty interesting mix that we've got here. Doesn't look like we had anything too crazy going on. See, a few different guys using some wets and intermediates, and some just sticking with just plain wets. Trying to get some laps up on the board and a little bit of practicing around here. It's not the easiest track for sure, especially in those changing conditions like that. It is very easy to lose your back end, go a little bit wide in the corner, and bam, you're in a wall. So moving on to Q2 here. So the top 15 are going to be what you see in this next one. So that means we will have lost 3 drivers out of the last one. So our forecast is showing sunny, but the timeline for that is saying that we're going to have some rain in the earliest part of the race. So it's going to be an interesting mix regardless of what exactly happens. You're going to see if Ferrari is going to be the first to exit the pits there. Going to see which one that is, and that looks like that is going to be Forward possibly. Or is that Buck? That is Buck. Or no. It is going to be Forward. Out on track first. I'm going to be wanting to get that a little bit of advantage there, the clear air. So see what they're able to do. Slayer is sitting on the soft tire at the moment, looking a little too wet for that. So not sure he's gonna change that over real quick. That is one Ferrari. I've got to say, Ferrari is a very nice looking race car. Just love watching that one turn corners. Maybe it's the red. I don't know. Could be biased, but excited to see what these guys are going to be pulling out for us tonight. Got 13 minutes left in Q2, so all these guys are going to be probably setting 2 or 3 lap times apiece, looking to improve as much as they can. They all want to be fighting for that top 10 spot to be able to move on to Q3, and we'll be shocked to see some of these top runners not making it through there, but I'm sure they've all got strategies and different plans that they're working with. I imagine Buck and Forward have got a pretty solid team strategy worked out. I know both those guys are pretty technical when it comes to these sort of things, and just wanting to capitalize on every moment for the team. Is nice to see drivers put the team ahead of themselves sometimes. See, Buck and Forward are the first 2 on their flying lap, and Jordan is also on a flying lap as well. Forward's been able to get nice rotation out of his car. He's got a solid setup, it looks like, for these conditions, and it looks like he's pretty confident in his skill around here as well, not leaving too much up for grabs there, taking advantage of every corner, every last little bit of grip he seems to be able to find. See Jordan leave the lobby. Looks like he might be having some connectivity issues. There again, I saw him saying something about that earlier this evening. forward is going to be the first to set a lap time with a 128.6 quickly, to be undone by his teammate, one with a 128.27. Looks like these guys, if the conditions stay as they are, I think they'll be on par with each other pretty easily. Skrenzi's going to come in the middle there, that Ferrari sandwich, with a 128.5. Elma Jacko is up there in P2. I see him putting up a more representative lap time of his true pace. It's good to see everyone's running the intermediate this session. Looks like it's dried out just enough for those to become the more viable option. Grumpy old Catman with a 128.7. Gonna be top 5 there for you, all set in laps. Got A-Dub is going to be the last out of the pits, I believe, for setting a lap with this first little queue. You see the remaining guys in the pits are going to be coming out here pretty soon. I would imagine you don't want to leave it up to the last few minutes of qualifying. I've seen, remember last season we had a couple guys do that, and I believe it was Optic was the guy, and he would either set it on pole or set it in the wall. So not the best strategy, I think, for anyone to be following, but who am I to tell them how to race, right? So you can see Lancey in the Williams is going to be coming across the line here in a second. See what he's able to do for us with a 129.426. So I believe that time was invalidated. It's not showing up for him there. But Jose Miguel is also going to be coming in on a new flying lap as well. See what he's able to do for us. No Jug is on his way out of the pits right now. Lightwork still sitting in the pits. A-Dub is out on track. See what kind of pace he's able to bring for us. Jordan is on an out lap. Looked like he was able to get back into the lobby just fine. So good to see that. Grumpy old Catman is sitting up there in P2 right now on a 128.425. So it's a great lap from the Alpine garage there. Jacko back in the pits. Skrenzi in the Williams. Looks like he's just getting a little bit of practice in right now. Swabiaga has put in a 129.7. So looks like pretty good lap time from there. Not sure how much everyone else is going to be improving later on through this, but I don't imagine it will be crazy amounts faster. So could see him making it into the top 10, which would be really cool to see. No Jugs on an out lap right now. A-Dub is set at 127.271 for Alfa Romeo. Is going to be your current fastest lap time. He's just about a second clear of Buck there. So see if he's able to hold on to that. Lancey sets a 128.095 there to claim that P2 spot for the moment. Lightwork still sitting in the pits. Jordan on an outlap and Jose Miguel at the 127.245. So we are going to be seeing the track improving quite a bit now that the rain is almost completely stopped. So these lap times are going to be getting faster and faster here. Might even see some dry tire running in Q3 if things stay at this pace. So No Jug is going to be starting a flying lap right now. We'll ride on board throughout that one there. It's going to be coming into turn 1, full throttle, lights up nicely, gets good rotation through the car, grabs a little bit of a curb. You don't want to go too far into that curb as it is easy to spin out in wet conditions. Does well though to keep it going in a straight line. It's got pretty solid control through this first sector. It's always a little bit tricky, at least for me that is, even in the dry, so I can't imagine what it'd be like right now in the wet. Getting great rotation and control through these corners. Not pushing insanely hard. A little bit of early shifting there. Cuts in there, gets very close to not getting this lap time set, but he doesn't invalidate. Just coming down this back straight and full throttle, foot to the floor, 8th gear. You want to let up just at the last minute. Lancey with the 127.139 claims the top spot currently. See what No Jug's got for that. Looks like he may be on par to get up there, if not beat that time. So you get a 126.6 from Miguel. So definitely the track is improving over these next few parts, so we'll see what everybody else is able to do how they're able to improve. Catman looking like he might be wanting to take a gander on those soft tires. He is sitting 7th, so it's not a super comfortable spot, but he also doesn't have a ton to lose, especially with 6 minutes left in qualifying. He could come back for that. 126.651 from No Jug there in the Alpine. It's going to be your top spot, just edging out Miguel by a couple hundredths there. So pretty consistent seeing him up at the top. Lightwork still sitting in the garage now. So you see the bottom. A bunch of guys are all there in the pits as well. Just a few guys on track at the moment. Jordan there in 6th place with a 127.8 in the Mercedes. See what he's got coming up in here. Just navigating a little bit of traffic. A-Dub sets the fastest lap currently with the 126.1. Let's see a few of these guys coming into the pits, getting ready to make their final runs, it would appear. See, Baba Yaga also has fit the soft tires, so wonder if he's going to be coming out of the pits. As Hoxid is on an outlap right now, he is sitting in 11th spot with a 128.7, looking like he needs to improve a good chunk if he wants to make it out of qualifying 2 here. Doesn't invalidate, keeps it right on the limit there. It's a nice rotation of the car, keeps it moving. This is a track where you just want to brake as little as possible, just enough to get your car moving where it needs to go and muscle it through the rest of the corner there. It's very easy to lose a lot of lap time by just braking a little bit too hard into some of these corners. So you can see Catman is now on an outlap on his soft tire compound, so we'll ride on board and see how that's going to be working for him in those soft tires. If the track's ready for that yet or not sure. Let him be the guinea pig for us tonight. Looks like he's doing a pretty good job of keeping it all under control. So the track may be ready for full dry compounds here. Towards the end, we might see a mad dash into the pits for everyone to grab a set. Might be the difference between making it up to Q3 and not. But I imagine we'll most definitely be seeing all dry running in Q3 unless we get some more rain in that part of qualifying, which is unlikely, I believe. And he's going to go a little bit wide there and invalidate his lap right at the start. So he's going to need to make it all the way back around and try for that one again. Not sure if he's going to have enough time to change on back to set of intermediates or not, so he may just have to roll with it. Hoxid is able to put himself up to P3 with a phenomenal improvement there. He was down in P11 for his last lap of a 126.6, so good improvement for him there. That should definitely see him safely through to the end. See a lot of softs down now through most of the field, all but 2 drivers. And they're all hanging out in the pits. So we're going to see Forward on a lap. He's 6/10 up. So massive improvement, but he is also invalidated. So see, El Majaco is now on an outlap as well, running the soft tires. So expect to see some serious pace from him. He's going to let a Ferrari slip through. It's going to be Buck, I believe. Yes, it will be. Catman is making his way around again. He's giving it another go on these soft tires, see what he's able to bring out for us. Survives turn 1 just fine this time, not invalidated yet. So I imagine he's going to have the grip to hook it up through the remainder of this lap. Hoxade with the 125.9 and the Aston Martin is going to be now the fastest lap on the board. Oh, pretty close among the top two there. Just a couple hundredths difference between them, and then about a tenth or so dropping down between P3 and then P4. It's got a massive gap, about 4 tenths. I'll say that like it's a massive gap. It is not that long, but 4 tenths on the racetrack could be all the difference. Seen a couple races here in this 100% series come down to the very, very last little bit of track. The Jacko stealing a win for the season opener last season. Jose Miguel with 124.7 in the Alpha Tauri sets a new fastest lap time. We're going to see Hoxade is content with that lap time there. He's going to retire at just 7 seconds left in qualifying. Not really anybody that's going to be able to do too much about that. This looks like Lightwork is out on track now, finally saving his running for the very, very end. So Grumpy Old Catman goes P2 with that time of 124.8, so good run from him on the soft tires there. He was able to jump a few guys who have their fastest lap times on the wet. So we're going to see Lightwork is making his way through into sector 2 now. Forward with the 123.4, and the Ferrari is going to take the top spot. Just edging out Miguel by about 3 tenths. So good improvement there. It looks like the soft tire is where the track is at right now. Lightwork coming up into sector 3 now. He's gonna get a nice slow down there. Beautifully handled that corner. So corner was redone at the start of the year, so it's taken drivers a little bit of time to get adjusted to that. I know I've had some trouble with that, but Buck 3123 sets a new fastest lap of the 122.1 on the soft tire in the Ferrari. DRS is going to be enabled. Not sure if anyone's going to be able to use that to their advantage. Lightwork goes P4 with that time of a 122.772. So I was going to see him safely through. No jug with a 121.5 for Alpine's claims that top spot. And Catman, who we saw previously on P2, is now dropped down to P11 through all of this. So that is going to see him out of qualifying for the evening. And that is it for Q2. See Lightwork finished off there in a P6, so still fast enough to scrape him through that single lap. And there you have it. We have got No Jug in the Alpine with a 121.5 taking the top spot for Q2, followed by Buck in the Ferrari, and A-Dub is bringing on P3 in the Alfa Romeo. And then we got Lancey, Scarenzi, Lightwork, Elma Jacko, Jordan, Forward, and Jose Miguel are going to be your top 10. And we will see what kind of lap times they're able to present for us here in the next little bit of qualifying here. We got 15 seconds to go to Q3. And this is going to be a pretty interesting race, I think. We got a little bit of a balanced top 10. See, some of these guys are super fast, some of these guys moderately fast, and then just fast. Got 12 minutes for Q3 here, so not a whole lot of time for these guys to set lap times, but you should see everyone get about 2 or 3 runs in, and it's going to be a pretty interesting qualifying here now that we're going to be running full dry, no more changing conditions, so it is just going to come down to pure pace between these guys not having to adapt too much to the weather. It's going to see a Ferrari first out once again. It's always nice to see them jumping up on the spot there. Is going to be Buck is going to be on his way out. Scorenzi looks like he just beat him out. And yes, indeed. And he's going to be rocking that Williams right there, as you can see. See, everyone's out on the soft tire at the moment. I don't imagine we'd see anything other than the softs in qualifying. Seems to be about the only place we see the soft tire anymore. Not many people run it in races, as it doesn't offer up any viable strategies for normal Thursday night racing. But maybe in this 100% series we'll see it. I imagine if there's a late safety car or late wing change, someone's definitely going to be popping on those softs, trying to gain as much track time as they can. See, everybody but A-Dub is going to be out on track now. As I believe, yeah, A-Dub has just come out on the track now. So we got all 10 drivers out on track looking to set their lap times. Skrenzi's going to be the first to start a flying lap, so we'll ride on board with him throughout that and see what he's able to give us. A little bit of a lockup there, does well to save it. Coming onto the start finish straight now, looking like this is going to be a pretty solid lap time. Going to be a 1:18.5 in the Williams is going to be our benchmark for today, as Buck quickly beats that by a tenth with a 1:18.426 there in a Ferrari. So see Lancey here in the other Williams, see what he's able to do for us. Snow Jug goes with a 1:18.1, setting the new fastest lap. Lancey with a 1:18.7. See forward, slotting into the P5 slot with a 1:19.012. Jourdain with a 1:19.935, going up P6 in the Mercedes there. Interested to see if they're going to be able to improve a lot or maybe just a little bit through this session. Jose Miguel with a 1:18.7. See, our top 7 have all set laps now. As Elma Jacko has invalidated his first attempt. I believe Lightwork did as well. Like they're both going to be making their rounds again. As A-Dub with a 1:18.307 puts him P2 for the moment. Skrenzi's making a dive into the pits, as is Buck. So these guys just going for the one lap attack strategy tonight with their first runs in qualifying. Don't see too many people sticking out for 2 or 3 laps on the qualifying sessions too often, depending on the track, depending on tire wear. It's going to play a big part in that. Light work coming down the back stretch there, flat out, gets nice rotation, almost invalidates there coming over that final curb, but kept it within bounds, and off he flies. Elma Jacko is in the pits, like he wants a set of fresh tires for this next attempt of his. Looks like Lightwork has got a little bit of sliding issue going on, but he's doing a good job of keeping it under control. He's making a dive into the pits as well, looking like they just want to grab some fresh rubbers and move on. A-Dub into the wall there, losing his front wing, but keeps the car moving backwards, it looks like. He's not going to have anyone coming up behind him he's got to watch out for. So back on the track he goes. Like he was on his way on an in-lap anyway, so I'm not going to see too much grief from that. As Buck and Screnzi are now back out on outlaps. Got just under 6 minutes to go in this session, so not a whole lot of time left for these drivers to make a lap count, as Lightwork and Jacko are still in the pits. Looks like Jacko is on his way out now. Forward is coming into the pits. He is sitting in P7 currently at the 119.012. We see Jacko's outlap. See what he's got for us today. He's going to need a pretty solid lap here, as he's not going to have much time to improve, if any. So I was curious to see if he's going to have time to dive back into the pits after this lap or not. I'm not sure. Like, he's taking care of his tires on this outlap, making sure his ERS is all the way charged up for him. Gonna want to use as much of that as possible through the lap. Lightwork is still in the pits with just about 3.5 minutes left to go, so he's going to be needing to get out on track here soon. No Jug is on an outlap, and we're only going to see A-Dub, Lancey, and Lightwork in the pits at the moment. Screnzi sets the fastest lap time with a 117.8, just about 3/10 clear of No Jug there in the Alpine. So Williams looking to have a strong start to the season if they can hold up these top spots in the race here. So Elman Checo abandoned his lap, it looked like, to give himself a better opportunity here, as the track is as fresh as it's going to get. His previous time was good enough for ninth spot. It's 123.3, so not where he'd probably want to start the race, but I'm sure even if he started there, he'd be in for a good shot of making the top 5 anyway. Lightwork and Lancey are the only two drivers in the pits, and I must say it stresses me the heck out that they're still in the pits, especially Lightwork not having set a lap time yet. Maybe he's just decided that he wants to hoof it from the back, go for that hard charger bonus. As you're going to see, Jacko set the fastest Sector 2 time there, and like he wants that pole position tonight. Coming into Sector 3, rounds that corner, grabs a little bit of a curve. It doesn't seem to unsettle his car too much. It's a nice rotation through there. So Jacko goes P5 with that lap of a 118.4. So not fast enough to grab pole on this occasion. Not thinking he's going to have any more tire or energy left to set another lap, so it looks like he may just have to settle for that. He's going to see Lightwork on in his outlap finally. His No Jug has retired from the session in P2 at the moment with a 118.1. Pretty confident nobody's going to be able to take that off of him. but Buck is on an outlap as well, and he is just a few hundredths behind him. So, we're going to see a big pile up there, and that's going to be the Haas of Lightwork. And I believe, I'm not sure who else that was. Might have actually been No Jug. So that is not how they'd want their qualifying to go. Lightwork not able to set a time. That's what I was saying about saving. That's what I was saying about not saving your lap time until the very end there, as you will get yourself into a situation like that sometimes. And it looks like El Majaco might be out of gas, as he's just coasting around the track now. That's Baba Yaga tried to grab a spot in Q3 here. You were close there. I thought you were gonna grab it, but next time out you'll get it. I'm sure of it. So you're gonna see just a couple of guys coming around, and it looks like that is gonna be the Ferrari there of Buck. It is, yes, on his way on his final lap. See what he's got for us. He is not going to improve his position, although he did improve his time. He is going to stay P3 with a 1:18.178. Let's see, A-Dub is out on track. He's going to be able to improve. Doesn't appear he's going to be able to. Might have had a little bit of issues there with timing. As Lancey is now making his way up to the line, is going to be the last, and Lancey grabs pole, the 1:17.5 in the final lap, running lap time tonight. That was an impressive time from him. He's 3/10 clear of Screnzi there. And wow, that was an impressive lap there in the end. To swipe that off of Screnzi, and that's gonna make your top three, Lancey, Screnzi, and No Jug, are gonna be the fastest. And Baba Yaga, I'd have to agree with you. This track is not my least favorite, but it definitely is fighting for that spot as the days go on. Monaco would be a much better place, in my opinion. But there you have it. You're gonna see Lancey in the Williams on a pole position tonight, and Screnzi in the other Williams, P2. So great start from Williams. Looking like they're here to put on a show for everybody. As No Jug is going to take that final spot in the top three, and with the Alpine, followed by Buck in the Ferrari, taking P4. P5 is A-Dub. El Majaco, your previous season's champion, is in P6 for the moment. This will be his home race. It's the Aussie driver in the Aston Martin. Jose Miguel in the Alpha Tauri is bringing home 7th. Forward in the other Ferraris, P8. Jordan in the Mercedes, P9. And Lightwork, unable to settle lap time, is going to be P10 for the start. So it should be pretty interesting mix here in turn one. You're gonna see some fast drivers. I know some of these guys are better at starting than the others, so see who's able to move around to where at the start. And then we've got 58 laps of jam-packed action for you if all goes according to plan. So let's hope we're not following any Ferrari strategies here, so we can see some good racing and not a whole lot of blunders here today. But once again, anyone in the chat want to go off with any bold predictions about who's going to take home this race after seeing qualifying? So just about 2 minutes until we go green, letting these guys set up their race strategies, go over anything they want to adjust on their tires or front wing is about all you can change here in Parc Fermé. But we'll be going green in just a couple minutes here, just letting these guys set up some strategies. We see the predicted strategies there. Going to be lap 12 to 17 for a set of softs, and then 17 to 35 for a set of mediums. Going to be a two-stop strategy, it's looking like here today. So should be in a pretty interesting mix as far as what everyone's going to be running. Probably going to see a lot of medium, maybe some hard running in the later stages. Everyone's going out on their formation lap at the moment. So you can see we've got just a couple guys on the hard tires, Elma Jacko and Not Gravity in 18th place and Jacko in 6th place. So Jacko looking like he's going to want to extend. I know he's very good at keeping good care of his tires even as they're getting pretty worn out. So he should be able to improve a little bit there. Not sure what the rest of the top 5 got for tire saving abilities. But we're going to see a few soft tire runners, no one inside the top 10 other than Jordan and Lightwork, so they should be able to improve their starting positions pretty early on in this race, and then it'll just depend on their pace if they're able to hold those positions. Hawk Sid in the Aston Martin is also going to be running some soft tires, and then Villeneuve and Fuse also on soft. And then the rest of the field we're going to have on mediums. So it should be a pretty good mix here. Expecting to see quite a few position changes in the first couple laps. I imagine once the field gets a little bit more stretched out, these guys kind of slow down a little bit sometimes. But last season, I remember we were in Silverstone and we saw some people going wheel to wheel. I think it was for almost an entire lap. We saw 2 guys side by side just battling it out for position there. Everyone's coming around the final stretch now. Looking like they're going to be getting ready to set themselves up. Lancey on pole there in the Williams, followed by Scarenzi in the other Williams. And then we've got No Jug right behind, ready to pounce. Let's see, the whole grid has formed up. Looking like we're going to be getting ready to go. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights are on and off we go here for season 2. Lights are out as Scarenzi is making a good comeback on Lancey off the start there, as Lancey's able to hold him off though. Let's see everybody coming through. Looking like we do have a yellow flag there in sector 1. Looks like we got a couple guys off track. It's going to be Fuse Rogue. It's going to be one of them and Baba Yaga. Looks like they got a little tagged up there in the beginning. Lancey is still leading though. He's got himself a gap of about half a second so far over his teammate. No Jug wanted to make a move but wasn't able to make anything stick there into turn 1. We're going to see Buck up over Jose Miguel there at the start. There you can see some position changes. Not Gravity made a great start, moving up 4 spots there. Slayerized up 1 as well. Forward down 3, Catman down 3. Baba Yaga lost 5 places off the start there, as Slayerized moves up in front of Catman now. And I see some close action here as Jose Miguel is looking to make a move on the Ferrari. Down into this corner, they're going in side by side. See who's able to come out on top is gonna be Buck. Has just edged him off the track ever so slightly. Some real close racing between the start here. Both of them keeping it fair, not a whole lot of contact unless necessary, as Miguel gets real close to the rear wing there. But you see A-Dub is coming in ready to pounce now, as we see, oh man, and Jose Miguel comes over. A little bit of contact there. That's going to promote them down in the field. Everyone else is going to be moving up from that. Jose Miguel gets a 5-second penalty for that as well. So not what either of them are going to want to see on this opening lap. Forward up into 9th spot now because of that. Slayerized up into 10th. Up 4 spots on that. Hawksid up 5 spots. Lightwork has made a beautiful start from P10 up to P5 on the first lap there in the Haas, representing well. Rocking that NFS banner. Love to see that. El Majaco is holding stationary in P6 at the moment. He's ahead of his teammate now, and he's got a second gap worth back on Lightwork, so he's going to want to stay within that 1 second range here in the next few laps as DRS opens up. Lancey with a phenomenal start, able to hold position there. Screnzi just doesn't seem to have the pace for him on the start. Not sure if we're going to see much from them in the beginning here. El Majaco is down a spot though over Hawksid. As you see, pretty solid racing here throughout. Everyone's saying pretty close and consistent with each other. Is going to see a yellow flag in sector 3, as that's going to be a McLaren. That's going to be the one of Fuse Rogue without a front wing there. So it seems we're going to have that McLaren curse going with us for the first start of the season. Not sure what happened, if he had contact or what, or if he just spun on his own. But that promotes both of the McLarens to the last 2 spots on the grid. Screnzi with the fastest lap, Lightwork with the fastest lap. We've seen a mad gamble for who's going to hold on to that for a little bit. As we are going to see No Jug with a spin, taps his wing there on the front, looking like he's able to stay out of the way of some of these drivers as they're coming through there. So that's unfortunate for No Jug. Going to see him drop down pretty much to the bare last, not able to get forward going again with that many cars on track still. Lightwork has closed up nicely to Buck, and I've seen these guys have some pretty epic battles over the days. So excited to see what they've got in store for each other tonight, as Lightwork is getting closer and closer onto Buck, wanting to make something happen here. He's following him nicely. He's going for the dummy, but Buck is able to cover that one off nicely with a little bit of weaving there. Not sure how legal that is, but doesn't matter to Lightwork. He's going to make the pass anyway. Sets himself up beautifully for this next corner, gets in ahead, stays ahead. Solid lap, solid corner. That's all you need to move up there. It's just staying consistent and just beating them out right in the final bits of the corner is where you're going to be able to gain the most on some of these guys here, I think. As you can see, Jordan is tumbling down the order with a spin as well in the Mercedes. So seeing a little bit of spins going on here. Haven't had anybody DNF yet, so that's good to see, as Lancey is holding out that gap, has not been able to stretch it to over half a second. DRS is going to be enabled now on this lap. Lightwork is on that podium spot where we had predicted him being. See if he's able to notch himself a win here tonight. So Lancey is setting up with an incredible start to the race. See if he's able to hold that out, and he'd be in for a good running as well for the race win tonight. All these guys are going to be wanting to make their way through the field here. Get into win. It's up 2 spots as a couple guys are sliding into the pits for front wings, it looks like. See No Jug and Jordan, both of them had spins this lap, so it must have both had a fair bit of contact. Miguel is going to get himself a 3-second penalty, so that's going to put him up there with penalties, as he's going to be the only guy on the track right now with penalties. 8 seconds to his name. See a little bit of a mix here as we see some of the hard tire runners slipping back a little bit. And Jacko, he slipped down 1 spot, but Gravity was able to make a great improvement on his positions as he's moved himself up into P10. He started down in 18th, I believe, at the start of this race. So that's going to be great from him. He did start that far down, yes, and looks like a little bit of a battle, a little bit of contact there between Jose Miguel and Not Gravity. the AlphaTauri and the Red Bull there, and Work is not taking any prisoners tonight at all. He wants this win, I think, and I really hope he can bag it for himself. It'd be really cool to see as Jose Miguel goes off track a little bit there, gets a little loosey-goosey there. Keeps it going. Gravity wasn't able to capitalize on that little slip up there. These guys are going to want to make every move count. As you could lose out a spot here and just never get another chance, as Jose Miguel gets another penalty for multiple warnings. So having a little bit of troubles keeping it on the track. Buck is in P4 at the moment. Looks like he's just slipping back from the top three a little bit. Skrenzi is able to make a pass on Lancey though for the lead. And it's got that gap now to 6/7 of a second, pushing farther and farther away from Lancey there. See DRS flaps wide open, doing everything they can to break the toe behind. But Lightwork is a man on a mission, as we see Buck and Hoxid going wheel to wheel here, coming through. Who's going to come out on top of this? I don't know. It's going wheel to wheel here now. Some beautiful racing through these corners here. It looks like Hoxid's going to have to give way in the very end, but he does get that DRS down this straight, so that may be all he needs, and it looks like that is all he needs. Able to make that stick. Buck slots right in behind, wants to make a move, but there's no room to do it, so he's going to have to make do on this next straight here, see if he's got anything. Hoxid's got himself a 3-second penalty, though, for multiple track warnings, so that's going to give Buck a little extra motivation to get around him right now, if he's able to. So seeing a decent spread throughout the field, not a whole lot of close action. A little bit farther down, we're going to see Not Gravity still close to Miguel, and with Villeneuve coming up. Oh, it goes wide though, spins around. Does well not to collect anybody else in that. That is unfortunate for Villeneuve there. Going to drop him down a bit, but Gravity is still hanging in close there, and he's gone off the track as well. Looks like these guys are giving it everything they can. We're going to see Lightwork closing in on the gap up here. We'll stay up with this battle here as he's looking to make a move happen down this DRS stretch. Not able to make anything work there. It's an iron wall defense from Lancey there to do a good job to keep him behind. Let's see what they've got down this next straight though. Lightwork is pretty fast in the straight line, I'd say, on most tracks. Doesn't need too much grip. I think the man just flies over these tracks using a little bit of magic. It's not able to improve too much though, as Lancey is going to have that DRS from his teammate up ahead, so not going to have the advantage that he would quite want. But he's able to stay remarkably close. These cars allow for that super well. It makes the racing a lot more fun than previous years of the game, where you only had about 1 or 2 laps to really make something work before your tires start overheating. This Buck has dropped down into 4th, and he's just about a second behind Hoxid. At the moment, Lightwork is staying right there. Come on, Lightwork's got this move in the bag, I think. If he can get him on a straight or coming into a corner is going to be his best bet for making something happen here. I imagine the Williams will have to be operating on split strategies here a little bit to try to capitalize on their positions. I'd have a good start in that Constructors battle. You saw it came down pretty close to the wire last season with Ferrari, I believe it was, just losing out to the Alpine team by 10 points. Jose Miguel is just about half a second behind Catman there. He is going to be rocking a lot of penalties though. Buck has got himself a time penalty of 3 seconds for track violations, so not the start he'd like to see. Now these guys are going to be wanting the field to stretch out a little bit. Any of these guys with the penalties are going to want to be able to negate those penalties as quickly as possible. Lightwork is hanging right on the diffuser of Lancey still. Remarkable racing that these guys are able to stay so close to each other. Lightwork not sliding up into the rear end, and Lancey not getting a little too nervous with him right there and making any mistakes. So solid racing from the two of them. Excited to see how this progresses over the season, if we're going to see them come back on track and be duking it out like this. Hoxid with 3-second penalty as well. I see penalties, quite a few penalties for some of these guys. As No Jug sets a 121.8 on the Alpine. It's going to be your new fastest lap time. He's down in 18th spot at the moment. He's got a lot of ground to make up if he's going to want to save his performance today. Catman is edging up closer to Gravity. Not able to stay super close on this straight. You're going to want to have to be right up on somebody if you're going to want to make a move happen here. So you can see all the position changes everyone's had. Hoxid up 8 as well as Not Gravity up 8. And then Lightwork is up 7 spots. Hoxid with another 3-second penalty. See what kind of penalties everyone's rocking. Hoxid on 9, Miguel on 11, and Buck on 3 seconds. So not the greatest start from any of them. This Lightwork is now just a 10th behind. Tried to make something happen there. Not enough room though. Lancey is doing a great job of defending here for his life, like a championship depends on it. Which it very well might. You never know if you're gonna have any DNFs later in the season. Anything like that could throw you completely out of contention here. It's a shorter series. You don't want to have any mistakes ruin your race. As long as you can finish every weekend, you should be in fine with getting that consistency, building and building. It's going to be important for this season. So you're going to see Scarenzi goes wide though, and that's going to allow Lancey to retake the lead, and Lightwork is able to make that move on Scarenzi as well. So a bit of a mishap there for Scarenzi. It's not going to put him where he wants to be right now. It's just about half a second behind Lightwork. But that may be exactly what Lightwork needs here. Without Lancey having that DRS advantage from his teammate, he may be able to make something happen down this back stretch here. So he's closing in closer and closer. Skin it to win it, makes a move on Villeneuve and gets past him easily, it looked like. Down in the 13th spot. See what Lightwork's got here. Just there you can see that DRS advantage is going to be great. Not close enough to make anything really happen without smoking him in the side there going into that corner. So he's going to want to save it for this next stretch. If he can hold this closely to him, he should be in for a good spot here. It's just a couple tenths of a second separating them right now. I wonder how long Lightwork's going to be able to push these tires. It said lap 12 was when about the predicted strategy for the end of duration for those tires there. Not able to get close enough on this straight. See what he's got on this corner exit. Gets a pretty good drive out of the corner. See exactly what he needs here. You're going to see Lancey hide down on that inside line and force Lightwork the long way around. Lightwork makes it stick as they're going wheel to wheel here through this part of the track. Very difficult, very technical part, especially when you're racing side by side, but Lancey does incredibly well to hold on to that position. Lightwork gave it everything he had there, and both of them did well to control their cars and not make any sort of contact. As Scarenzi is right back up there though, all that fighting has allowed Scarenzi to close down to within a tenth of a second here, and he's on the medium tires, so that is going to allow him the advantage of more time on that tire, as these guys are just neck and neck. You could throw a blanket over these guys with how close they're driving. This is amazing racing here. See, they're coming down as Lightwork is going to get himself up in the lead for the moment. Is he going to be able to make it stick through this corner? He almost goes off track in the process, but does so, and Lancey and Scarenzi get real close. They're going to have to back off there from Scarenzi to not make contact with his teammate. And the Haas is going to be leading these Williams now into the final corner. See if he's able to hold on to that position though. These guys are just putting on quite a race there, and you can see Hoxid is making his way up ever slightly on the back of him there, as Buck is just about 4 tenths behind Hoxid there in the P5 spot. Ferrari's running 5th and 6th at the moment. So not a whole lot of action going on elsewhere on track besides these top three guys, and the fourth and fifth looking to capitalize on that there. As you see Lancey make a dive around the outside, is he going to be able to make it work like Lightwork tried to make stick earlier? So they're going to be going wheel to wheel. Lancey is up for the moment, and he is through for the moment. Buck is going to be retired from that session though. Not sure what happened there. As we see him tagged up on the wall, and that is going to be a safety car. Unfortunate for Buck there at the DNF 11 laps into this race. Somebody just got a little bit wide on the corner there, but that is not what anybody wants to see on the start. So this has played beautifully though into Lightwork's hands. See if he's going to dive into the pits now that does just about at the end of the lifespan of those soft tires. You may lose out on track position for the moment, but pitting under safety car is always going to be your best bet for minimizing time lost. It's Lancey, Lightwork, and Screnzy here, all putting in battles for who's going to be bringing home the best race photos, I imagine. At the end of this race, going to see some beautiful stuff there. As Vil has also DNF'd, it looks like. I see a mad dash into the pits, top four all in. See if forward is in as well, so there's your top five in the pits, and I imagine El Majaco on the hard tire is gonna stay out as he decides to come in. Actually, this looks like he was debating that there up until the last minute. I'm gonna see some fresh rubber going on there for forward. When did he end up pitting on? Is gonna be the hard tires. So I see mediums from Lancey and Lightwork, softs on Hoxid and Scarenzi. Gravity is going to keep going, and Catman is going to keep going as well on their 12-lap old tires. Mediums probably got about another 12 laps in them or so, and those hards are going to have about another 20, I would imagine. Let's see, most of the top 5-6 drivers pit. So curious to see how they're going to make it through this pecking order for the second time here. Let's see. A couple of new sets of soft tires out. Hotsit, Scarenzi, and Miguel are the only three so far to pit those on. I'm going to see a couple more hards making their way out, and mediums for the rest of the field. It looks like Fuse Rogue also puts on a set of soft tires there. Slayerized in the Alfa Romeo there. It's been pretty off the radar so far in this race. See how many positions he's moved up 5 spots from his starting spot, P14, so good start from him through this first little bit of the race. Definitely gonna want to be moving his way up the field a little bit if possible. Not sure what everyone's going to be running for. A couple guys haven't stopped. It's going to be Not Gravity and Catman are going to be the only two not to have stopped so far. Some of these other guys had front wing damage that they needed to fix up that they pit for earlier, and they'll take a look at the penalties. Hawk Sid on 9 seconds of penalties there, as Jose Miguel's got himself down to 6 seconds, and Get It to Win It is on 3 seconds currently. So penalties are going to play an important factor in these races and how these guys are driving. I'm sure nobody's going to want to have that 3-second gap if they've got 3 seconds or more in penalties. You're going to want to stretch out as far away from the competition as possible to negate as much of that as if they can. But Lancey and Lightwork, I imagine, are going to pick things up right where they left off. And Hawksid is going to be himself with a good spot there on the start to move up there. He's on the soft tire compared to the front two on medium, so he will have that advantage coming into the beginning. Screnzy as well. With the other Williams, he had a little bit of went a little bit wide there and lost the lead to Lancey. And Lightwork was able to squeeze himself up in there as well before the safety car, so he's going to be pushing like a madman to get that back, I imagine. As he almost tags the rear end of Hoxid there. Should leave a little bit of room on these safety cars for things like that. Definitely don't want to run into the back of anybody and ruin your front wing or ruin their rear wing, because that will most certainly be a penalty from the stewards later. As you can see, they're on their second lap now, a safety car, so maybe just one more time around once this field gets all bunched up. We may go green this lap though, not entirely sure. Field did a really good job of not getting too spread out, so they should all be back together in time if they want to go green this lap. It's forward in the only remaining Ferrari on the hard tire. See what he's got for the team. He's got a lot to do now by himself. But If anybody can do it, it's Forward. I don't think we saw him win any races last season, but he did end up finishing P2 in the championship just due to consistency. And love seeing a driver who's consistent. That's something a lot of teams are going to be looking for, as the safety car is going to be coming in this lap. So we are going to be getting ready to go green. See these guys warming their tires, our last little bit there. And follow the pace that we've got from Lancey here in the Williams. He's going to be the safety car at the moment, backing the pack up. And then whenever he is ready, he is going to pull the pin and off they go. Going to want to get the best jump he can on light work here. And bunch everybody up nice and slow like that. And it looks like off he goes. There we go. You see everybody making a clean getaway there. Not seeing too much. Jose Miguel and Slayer as duking it out a little bit. Scarenzi and Hoxit also. No changes of lead in the top three drivers. We're going to see a little bit going on down the back here. There's a little bit of contact there from Forward and the Aston Martin of Elma Jacko. It's not what you want to see. Looks like they're both able to keep going, though. I don't think they got any wing damage. Miguel moves up on Jacko as well. So he's going to have that Ferrari right there on the side of him. Coming up alongside, and it looks like he's passed him. Maybe we are seeing a little bit of wing damage. No, it looks like his wing is perfectly intact from Elma Jacko there. But he just lost a little bit of the momentum from that contact, as Lancey is able to hold that lead, and he's stretched that gap now to just over a second, as Scarenzi is right on the back of Lightwork still. I'm not sure if Lightwork's been having to do some mad defending there against Scarenzi, and that's allowed Lancey to get the advantage there in the lead, but he's closed that gap down to back within under a second, right where he's going to want it to be once DRS is enabled next lap. So Hoxit in with a good start there. Get It to Win It is making a move on Catman, has made that move stick, it looks like. So Catman has dropped back 2 spots now, losing out a little bit. So Catman is on older tires. He and Gravity are the only 2 drivers not to pit 15 lap old tires there. Not going to have a whole lot to say against these fresh tires, especially the fresh rubber of Fuse Rogue Soft. Was able to breeze past Catman, and A-Dub makes a move there, slides in at the last second. See, the front wing is still looking intact there on his car, so maybe just a little bit of loss of pace there, as Jordan moves up a spot on Baba Yaga to claim that number 15 spot. Scarenzi has made the pass on Lightwork. I missed that then there. Now Lightwork is just 6/10 back, but he is going to have a little bit of an issue here with Hoxit to deal with. If he's not able to get him into that corner, he's not able to hold him off. So Nat is going to see Lightwork drop down to P4. Saw him up and running and leading this race for a little bit. As Fuse Rogue makes another move on Slayer, as Fuse Rogue on the soft tires. So not a huge surprise there, seeing him have that extra bit of pace, as Jose Miguel has done wonderfully to allow himself back up into the top 5. As DRS is enabled this lap, so we'll see what these guys are able to do with DRS advantage now. Jose Miguel with another 3-second penalty. So he will most likely be dropping down quite a bit through towards the end of the race in the standings once all these penalty times are applied. See these drivers up in front getting super close together as Hoxit goes off the track to get the lead. Not sure if he's going to hold on to that position or have to give it back. We'll have to see later on. Lancey is now in P3. Lancey has got himself a time penalty for multiple track warnings. So not going to be what he's going to want. So that's going to be the top 3 drivers all on penalties. So if Lightwork can just hold this spot, he should be good to, yeah, Lightwork would definitely be up in the running there for the win if he can stay this close. But Miguel's making a move on him as well. So that's going to be the top 4 drivers all on penalties. Jose Miguel with the most penalties in this race at 12 seconds. Hoxit with 9 seconds, everyone else on 3. See what's going to happen here in this later stages. See a bit of a gap at the top now as Skrenzi is able to get out the lead on Hoxton by 1.2 seconds. Fuse Rogue with a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings in the McLaren there. McLarens were at the tail end of the field on lap 1, so they've done beautifully to get themselves back up into 8 and 10 with Ginnett leading them, the pairing of McLaren today. No Jug and A-Dub are battling it out down in 12th and 13th spot, just half a second separating them, and Slayer Eyes is just half second ahead of No Jug. Jacko is holding on closely to Ford, not wanting to let him slip. He's got his eye on him, making a move a little bit later on once the tire wear starts affecting Forward is going to have the advantage in that battle. White Work is just 4/10 off of Miguel at the moment, so he's going to still benefit from that DRS train, as Skrenzi is going to be able to build his lead out just even further and disappear off in the distance, as Hoxton is 1.5 seconds out of that almost. A-Dub makes a move on Slayer Eyes. Lancey is hauling bum, trying to catch up to the Hoxton there in the front. He's on P2. He's going to want to get back up with his teammate, hopefully be able to help him out later, as Miguel is just 4/10 off of Lancey though. So these top 5 drivers are all super consistent with their lap times, able to stay close to each other. Curious to see who's going to be able to hold on to what. They all got pretty even levels of ERS. Hoxton is pushed a little bit, trying to close down that gap. Miguel on about 20%, but Lightwork is going to have the advantage here, I think, in this battle, as he doesn't have any penalties. I'm not sure he's got any warnings yet. So we'll see how that goes. Not Gravity getting himself some more penalties or track violations. Fuse Rogue is looking to make a pass on Gravity there. They're getting super close to each other, all over the back of him in that Red Bull. So McLaren is wanting to make that move as they go 3 wide down the back straight. That was an incredible move from No Jug there to stick his nose in there and get ahead of both drivers. That was impressive to see, as Fuse Rogue also makes the move done on Not Gravity. Beautiful, beautiful racing between the 3 of them there. Lancey and Miguel are swapping spots up at the front though. Says Miguel is able to make a move there and get ahead for the moment, see if he's able to hold that, and they're not gonna have DRS there up in the front, as Miguel is 2.3 seconds off pace. They got a little bit loose in that corner, but he was able to hold on to it, not lost too much momentum, as he's going to be harvesting some ERS as well, maybe running low there. Let's see, Lancey's going to try to make a move down the outside here, it looks like. They're going wheel to wheel into this corner, and seen a few drivers try to make this work. It hasn't been super successful for them, but if they can stick their nose in here, they have a good chance, but he wasn't able to get the rotation he wanted or the grip, so Miguel is going to win out this time around. His light work now is just 4/10 off the back of that. Forward is just 4/10 off of Jacko, as Jacko was able to make that move on to Forward there. Fuse Rogue with another 3-second penalty, as Ginnett is up ahead of Forward now as well. Going to see the Ferrari dropping back a couple of spots. He's going to be wanting to fight that back a little bit later. So passes that were made on him were with the medium tire, so he was going to have the lower tire in that battle, but he will be able to run a lot longer on the hard tires. So keep an eye on him a little bit later on this race when some of these other guys have to come into the pits, as Forward is set to have the track position once the next round of stops open up if he doesn't pit with them. As A-Dub makes a move on Not Gravity. Gravity on 19 lap old tires. These guys are battling it out still. Let's see, just a couple tenths off, as Slayer Eyes is also just a couple tenths behind this battle, watching this all unfold, looking to make him chance at any opportunity, just like we saw No Jug do there. Make a pretty solid move. Elma Jacko and Ginnett to win it, going at it. Ginnett to win it, making that move stick, as the Aston Martin is going to be coming back though. Is he going to have anything for this? As we're going to see the Mercedes Jordan off track down at the back end of the field. Not sure if he had, and he's able to get his car moving again. It's going to keep him rolling on track, as Forward is just 7/10 off of El Majaka now due to this battling. these guys are doing, not able to focus purely on their lap time. Having to defend is going to make you a little bit slower around the track, as Lancey is still fighting back for that podium position on Miguel. So if we take a look at the penalties, Miguel is going to be dropping down quite a bit, so Lancey does have that to bank on if he can stay close to him. But light work, just being 3/10 behind, is going to be in a prime spot to overtake most of these guys. Might even still be in contention for a win here if he can hold this position well. Lap 21 now of 58, as we're going to see another yellow flag in sector 3. Looks like everyone's able to keep it moving in a straight line, as we're going to see Jose Miguel with a spin there. Do well to avoid that, as he's going to have to hide to the inside there as all these guys are coming around that blind corner. It's a very sketchy spot to be on track. Jose Miguel now down into outside the top 10 after being in 3rd position recently, so forward is going to be gaining from that a lot. I think he's going to be in prime position to scoop up a podium here at the end of this race. Drive-through penalty for Jose Miguel as he makes contact with Baba Yaga. I'm not sure if Baba Yaga is going to have any front wing damage from that, as I believe he will with how gingerly he's driving that car. But that is going to see Jordan in the Mercedes down in 16th spot, Miguel in 15th, both of them having a little bit of spins there, but not what anybody's going to want to see, as Baba Yaga is losing pace quite rapidly to the drivers in front of him, so I believe he caught some damage as well. 3-second penalty for A-Dub, so too much to Valentine's chagrin, we are going to see A-Dub still running, hasn't DNF'd yet. Still a long ways to go in this race though, so we'll see what they're able to do. Who's gonna be finishing. Not expecting any more DNFs from some of these guys. I know all these guys are pretty consistent drivers. It's just a matter of if luck's on their side or not. Lightwork got his bad luck out of the way in qualifying though, so I'm sure he'll be happy to finish tonight after that accident in qualifying preventing him from setting a lap time. He's done well to make up for that though in the race so far. I've seen him on P4 after starting P10. Alma Jacko's just outside of a second now on Ginnett to win it in the McLaren up ahead. So you're going to see Fuse Rogue and Baba Yaga into the pits now. So they're right on each other's tails, as we're going to see. Yep, that's a new front wing for Baba Yaga. See what he's able to go for on his strategy. He's going for the soft tire. Ginnett is, or excuse me, Fuse Rogue is on the hard. Jose Miguel on softs. Looks like he's got 10 lap old softs as well, so not sure if that's the tire he wanted to pit or not. But see him struggling with those tires, are going to be nearing the end of their life anyway. But Fuse Rogue on a fresh set of hards is going to be able to gain a few spots, I think, as some of these guys are going to be pitting here relatively soon. As Skrenzy and Hodzik are 1 and 2 at the moment, with Lancey and the other Williams is P3. So a double podium finish for Williams would be great for their start to the championship series here, as their tires are going to be 11 laps old for Skrenzy and Hodzik, as well as Lancey, but nearing the end of the soft tire life for sure. Not sure if we're going to see them start struggling here. As Lancey is now 7.6 seconds off of the top 2 runners, so not what he'd like to be necessarily. But Hoxid with another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, going to be dropping him just a little bit further down. Some of these guys are going to want to be going away, stopping with these penalties here, otherwise it's going to seriously be affecting their finish positions. But light work, Jacko forward, no jug. Slayers, Catman, and Jordan, and Baba Yaga as well, all doing well to not have penalties. It's going to be a huge factor, as we're going to see another McLaren off track in the final corner, and that is going to be Fuse Rogue with another spin. That is a very tough corner to keep a hold of, as Hoxid is just outside of his second now on Skrenzy. He's got himself back into that DRS. I wonder if it was in time. It was in time to get DRS on this lap, as he's going to be pushing now to try to gain on him as much as he can. Got that gap down to 7/10 on this straight. Looking to make a move maybe by the end of the lap if he can hold this, as Lightwork is right upside and alongside of Lancey coming into the first corner. He's backs out of it wisely, though. There was not enough room to go side by side. Lancey not wanting to yield at all to him there. So we're going to be seeing another move down the outside here again. Looks like we might. He's tried it earlier before. He's going to go for this. Tried to switch back, but makes a little bit of contact with the rear tire of Lancey, though, and stops that move from happening. Drops back about 3/10. Don't think he got any damage from it, though. Looking like his front wing is okay. Just going to see him drop back a little bit. Not able to make the move happen where he wanted it. Going to try it again down this stretch. Just getting it to win. It's got himself a 3-second penalty for track violations as well. Forward is just 2/10 off of Jacko. These guys are 1-2 in the championship last season, so it looks like they're going to be wanting to continue that battle. As Jacko goes a little bit wide there, and Forward is going to have to lay on the brakes to not make contact there through the back stretch as he dummies him and trying to make something happen, but not able to. As we're going to see an Alpha Tauri spun around in sector 1. That is going to be Jose Miguel, I believe it is. Yes, he's going to have a spin there. Who's out of position to Baba Yaga. He's currently in 14th spot, so good effort from him today. As we're going to see Screnzi dive into the pits here. He's going to go onto the medium tire. And I'm going to see him drop down the standings a little bit for now, but all these other guys will have to pit again. Not sure they're going to be able to make these tires last until the end. And I know some of them haven't ran 2 different compounds. As No Jug, though, in the Alpine is getting pretty close to Jacko and Forward as they're jockeying around a little bit for position there. Forward is able to get the advantage on Jacko. Maybe Jacko's tires are starting to disappear on him. A hard tire Forward is going to be lasting quite a bit longer. So your top 3 at the moment are Hawksid, Lancey, and Lightwork. Lightwork is the only driver in the top 3 to not have any penalties. So he's going to be in a very solid spot come the end of this race if he can keep it penalty free. As Forward is the other driver in the top 5 without penalties. We're going to come in very handy, and we're going to see Miguel's with another spin there on the Alpha Tauri towards the end. So having a little bit of trouble there, keeping a hold as Jacko is not getting the drive out of corners he would like, as No Jug makes a move happen on him as he's able to make it last. See, his tires are starting to get a little bit of graining effects. Jose Miguel, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as he DNFs as well. So, not sure he's been having the best night as he's gonna retire there. So that's just gonna leave 15 drivers left tonight, 3 DNFs. One from Buck in the Ferrari with a nasty spin. Not sure what happened to Vil. And then Jose Miguel, the most recent. Lightwork has got himself a 3-second penalty, though. Not what he'd like to see. As Forward makes his way further up the standings. He's climbing slowly and slowly, but see what that's going to put everybody with penalties. As Lightwork is still going to be set to overtake in it there just through penalties. But Lancey also on that 3-second penalty, so he's going to have to make a pass happen on track. All these guys on about the same lap old tires, going to be needing to make pits, make it into the pits around the same time. Forward on the hard tire is going to have that advantage, and he's only a second behind them now. So he's been able to close that gap down beautifully over this duration of these 27 laps we've had so far. So we're just nearing the halfway point as well for this race. As we're going to see up in front there, the McLaren and Lancey are going to be getting into it. As Ford makes a move back on No Jug making a move stick again though. You see a real big battle here for the lead. There's nothing, no position changes happening as of yet. Forward though is wanting to make that move on No Jug again. I know he does. Not going to be content sitting back there in P5. Going to want to make as many moves as you can. Screnzi has got himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings down in P8, and we did see him up in the top spot for quite a while there on the start of the race, first 8 or 9 laps or so after Lancey and him traded spots. He was running wide, ran wide one corner and lost that lead. See him fight his way back up as we're going to see more and more drivers getting penalties as this race goes on. This is 100% series is definitely something that requires a lot of fine tuning and skill to be able to keep your car on track at all times and not get any penalties or anything like that is not so easy over a couple hours of racing here. This drivers is going to be mentally, physically drained towards the end of this, guaranteed. Especially at a track like Albert Park here. There's not a lot of room for error. Lightwork has made his way up into P2 now, ahead of the McLaren of Ginnett to win it. And he is just 1.5 seconds off of Lancey up ahead, as you can see him just crossing the finish line now. About 29 of 58, so just about 30 laps left to go for these guys. Running out of time to make some moves happen, but there's still plenty of time to make up for any of your earlier accidents. Skrenzi and Hoxid are getting pretty close at it now, as Jacko and Hoxid both in the Aston Martins. This looks like they're going to be going wheel to wheel here. No team orders to play for, as that is going to be Hoxid allowing Skrenzi a move on Jacko as well with that overtake. So nice from Skrenzi to take advantage of that. Hoxid kind of left his teammate left dry with that one. But Jacko is running on no penalties, so if he can stay this close, he will be gaining those places back in the end of this race. And then you can see the top 8 drivers all staying super consistent with each other, as No Jug is getting closer and closer to getting it to win it, but not able to make anything happen just yet. Keep an eye on that. Elma Jacko is just 4/10 off of Skrenzi, getting that DRS advantage though. They are in a train, so it's not going to be too much, as you're going to see Hoxid and the Ferrari going side by side up here. Like they almost make a little bit of contact. Hoxid is getting his elbows out this race for sure. As you can see, they're going now battling 3 abreast there. And a little bit of contact there between Hoxid and Skrenzi, but they keep it clean-ish as they're coming onto the start straight. As you're going to see Hoxid gain the advantage there. Skrenzi just choosing to slot behind and get that slipstream. Try to make something happen around one of these next opportunities here. See a lot of these guys running that DRS train now as well, so DRS for them is pretty much useless at this point. Get it to win it with another 3-second penalty, so No Jug is going to be happy with that for sure. Not sure if he's been forcing him wide or what, but forward is just a second outside of that battle, and Hoxid is right on forward's tail, so forward is going to be wanting to stay in that DRS as much as he can, as Hoxid is looking to make something happen around the outside here now. As there you can see he has made it just ahead of him. They're going 3 wide once again down here. These guys are just swapping positions around, trying a few different switch ups and whatnot. Not sure who's going to come out on this battle at all. This is an intense battle we've got going for us here. Lancey is holding that lead out over Lightwork. He's now stretched his gap to 1.2 seconds. So Lightwork's not going to be too happy about that, as their tires are the same lap old, so they're going to be on similar pit strategies. One of them, maybe Lightwork's going to try to undercut. Lancey might go for an overcut here. We're not sure which is more powerful around this track, but I'm going to see these 4th through 7th, 8th actually, all super consistent and close to each other between those 5 drivers. So excited to see who's going to be making the most out of this as we're coming into the final 27 laps of this race. See Ginnett's wanting to make a move on No Jug up here, but he's not having the room to do it down that straight. Maybe if he can get good drive here, as No Jug cuts the corner a bit to keep ahead. So maybe he's just not concerned about penalties, knowing he's got a couple warnings he can work with. See Hoxit on the soft tire there, 5-lap old, compared to the 20-lap old mediums, is still going to have a little bit of an edge over them. But he's not going to have too terribly long to do anything more, as Ginnett is going to plant that McLaren right where he needed to stop Hoxit from getting that overtake done right there, as Scorenzi is now just 0.2 off of Hoxit. Coming down the stretch, these guys are all pushing each other to the absolute limits right now. Scorenzi making it work around the outside, maybe gets pushed super wide, gets contact there from Hoxit. So Hoxit pushing just a little bit too much, I think, right now on track. It's causing Scorenzi to have to stay behind. So not the cleanest. Baba Yaga makes a move, or he gains a position on Jourdain. Jourdain's in the pits for some fresh tires. Is going on to the medium compound. Baba Yaga on 9-lap old mediums, down in 13th at the moment. 0.4 off of, or excuse me, 13 seconds off of Catman there. You can see No Jug on the fastest lap and sitting P3. I see quite a few penalties for the top drivers now as well. Lancey and Lightwork on 3 seconds, Hoxit on 12 seconds, 9 seconds for Ginnett, 6 for Scorenzi. Forward and Almajaco, both staying penalty free, are going to be able to capitalize a good bit on this here at the end. As you can see, a lot of these drivers are on 20-lap old tires, some of them on fresh rubber. So it should be a little bit more mix-up going on here. Through this next part, is going to see Ginnett is chasing down Hoxit now for that P4 spot. Hoxit is on the soft tire, so he's going to need to pit again. I imagine there's going to be a couple reports coming his way towards the end of the night as well. Lightwork is chasing down, as that's going to be forward, spun around. That is unfortunate from him. Looks like he might have tagged the wall a little bit, gotten some damage. We'll have to check back and see. That's unfortunate. He was running in the top 5 there, keeping it penalty free. He was set pretty well to grab a few positions there at the end with penalties and such, but his tires are 21 laps old. So he's going to be struggling a little bit with grip, but Gravity showing him how it's done on 33 laps on that set of hard tires. That's an impressive feat right there. Able to stretch those tires that long and still have the consistency to run up in the top 10, and he's gaining a little bit as well on forward. So we're going to see Scorenzi making a move on Ginnett now. Makes that happen pretty easily around the outside there. Slots in, and you're going to see Hoxit up ahead. Struggling a little bit maybe. So trying to chase down No Jug up ahead. Gonna make something work around the outside. No, he's not able to, but he makes a switchback work just well, as No Jug goes a little bit wide there on that corner exit. So Hoxit up into the top 3 spots now, but is going to need a pit again. Those soft tires aren't going to make it to the end. I imagine Scorenzi is going to be set pretty well to run to the end of the Grand Prix on those tires as well. You're going to see a Red Bull coming out of the pits. That's going to be Baba Yaga. Soft tires were up, and so he's onto his set of mediums. Going to win it with another 3-second penalty. Just behind Scorenzi there. As you're going to see Scorenzi trying to make something happen on No Jug in his corner, but doesn't have any room to do so. Lightwork is now within half a second of Lancey up in front, fighting for this lead of the race right now. No Jug's falling in and out of that second gap. Scorenzi is all over the back of him, ready to pounce. He's got a lot fresher tires there, 13 laps fresher, so that is going to be a pretty good advantage on that as well. As you can see, Scorenzi gets past no problem. So he's going to be able to hold on to that through this next bit. We'll see. Looks like forward didn't have any substantial wing damage. He kept running on those hard tires. 22 laps on those. Looking like he wants to make this a single stop race if he can. I don't think we've seen him stop yet. Or he has stopped, excuse me. Gravity is going to be your only driver who has not stopped, so impressive feat from him to stretch those tires. 34 laps. It's pretty great to see. It's Jacko there in 7th spot, looking just to put in some consistent lap times, trying to gauge the distance between the top 6 up ahead, as most of them are going to be changing positions with penalties. We're going to see a battle for the lead now, as these two have been giving us a great show all night long. You're going to see Lightwork in the Haas there behind Lancey, has been on the ball tonight. Started P10 and has been fighting for this win since about lap 3. So great performance from him tonight. He definitely wants to start the season off well, as you're going to see Hoxid coming into this mix as well. They're going to be going 3 abreast down this stretch here, changing positions. Hoxid is able to get his elbows out once again. It looks like he's able to make that stick for now, but he is going to have to pit a lot sooner than some of these other guys, I think, who are on, they may be on lap or 23 lap old tires, but mediums tend to have a second wind in them, so I'm sure we'll see a little bit of swapping around going on, as Hoxid also has 12 seconds of penalties to deal with, which would currently see him drop down to P6 at the moment if everything stays as it is. See a couple stops from everybody. Hoxid is now taking that lead back, or taking the lead, excuse me, away from Lancey, and Lightwork is going to be wanting to capitalize on that if he can. Not sure he's going to be able to, though. Hoxid is going to be pushing his absolute flat out right now to try to get an advantage on these guys. I'm not sure he's going to be able to make anything worthwhile happen, though, as Skrenzy and Lightwork are pretty close to each other as well on track. So these top 5 drivers are all staying close. Top 6 drivers, I should say, all staying pretty close. This McLaren here of Get It to Win It's got some pace for us tonight. We've seen 4 retirements: Jose Miguel, Fuse Rogue, Villeneuve, and Buck. So Slayer Eyes is into the pits now for a fresh set of medium tires. Gonna want to run that to the end, I would imagine. That's gonna promote Catman up into a P11. He's on 12 lap old tires, but he's got Slayer Eyes not far behind him. So once those tires warm up, he's gonna be on the hunt, I'm sure. See all of these guys coming in close now. You see him coming down the stretch there. As you're gonna see Jordam just making his way around turn 1, getting up close to getting lapped now. You see Hoxid with a 1.3 second gap over Lancey, who is under massive threat from Lightwork still. I don't think he's been letting him breathe all race. So great effort from the two of them to keep it clean and keep it fair on track. See, Skrenzy's wanting to see what's going to be happening on this lap, if any moves are going to be happening. He's right there to take advantage of it. Not sure he's going to be able to make anything stick, though, as he's going to have to back off just a little bit to make the corner still. But down this stretch, he's got a good shot here if he's got some overtake, as Lightwork takes to the right. So Skrenzy goes left and makes that pass happen. Is he going to be able to make it stick? They go wheel to wheel. Goes a little bit wide, but Skrenzy's able to hold on to that, making it a Williams 2-3 at the moment, just pushing Lightwork off that podium. But these guys are far from done. I feel like we're going to be seeing this battle go down to the end, as No Jug's going to make his dive into the pits. He's on 27 lap old tires, a little bit older than everybody else. Hoxid with the fastest lap of a 121.6 for Aston Martin. Catman has got a 3-second penalty for track violations. So we're going to see where this is going to, if this is going to prompt anyone else in the top 5 to go into the pits. Elmo Jacko sees a gain up into 6th spot because of that pit. This Lightwork is desperately fighting to get these guys before they end up going into the pits. Skrenzy's got about half the life used up on his tires as Lightwork and Lancey around him, though. That's going to see Williams almost guaranteed of a podium tonight, I believe, if they can keep it clean and consistent throughout the rest of this without running off track too much anymore. Not sure these guys are going to be fighting too much. Might see him switch places even if they're in a party chat. I'm not sure. I was going to see Lancey have to duck to the inside. Skrenzy goes off track in the process, though, to make that move happen. But he is through, but Lancey is fighting it back. I don't believe there's any team orders going on here right now. These guys are just out racing, giving it everything they can. Love to see that. Lightwork wasn't able to capitalize, but he is able to get himself right up on the rear end there. So we'll see what he's able to do. Hoxid is able to stretch that gap out to 4.5 seconds, but he is coming into the pits now. So we'll see what he's got forward. He's promoted himself back up to P7 after having a spin that saw him drop from P5 all the way down to P10. So great from him to make his way back up. Hoxid is going to grab that medium tire. Let's try to see if he can stretch that through the remaining 18 laps. Shouldn't have a problem with that at all. Not sure if we're going to see anyone in the top 3 pit for some softs. Maybe into these final stages. He just got 18 laps, so if they can go another 6-7 laps on these medium tires, they'd be in a good spot to run those soft to the end if they've got the time to do so. But we're going to see Skrenzy is just edging out Lancey by just about a second. Get into it. He's got more penalties coming his way with another 3-second penalty adding up. So Lightwork is going to be pretty happy about that, not having to worry too much about anybody behind him. As the next car behind Ginnett is 10 seconds back. Lancey is just fallen to about 1.1 seconds outside of Skrenzy there, so he's not going to have DRS on this front stretch coming around this next lap, so we may see some position change. We might not sure what kind of ERS he's running at. Should be a pretty close battle. See if Lightwork's able to make it happen here. It's not getting the drive that he's necessarily going to need. Just thinks better of it, not enough time to make something happen in the corner. It's a lot better to finish on the podium than to not finish, rather than worry about fighting here. As he's got another opportunity down this stretch, he's going to make a little bit of contact. They get a little bit close, but they're not having any issues yet. They go side by side to the remainder of that corner. Lightwork trying to make it happen around the outside. They're not able to do that. Hoxid moves up over Majako as Lightwork is able to get up ahead of Lancey for the moment, but Lancey takes that right back. Then you're going to see Ginnett to win it there just behind them, keeping it close, trying to capitalize on anything he can there. Let's see these guys once again going three cars super close together down this stretch here. They just love doing that. Must be having a little bit of fun with that. Gonna see Jordaeum, it looks like, has another spin. Yes, he does, off in the gravel there. Doesn't tag up any of these top runners, which is nice. Lightwork is making it work around the outside ever so slightly as they're going wheel to wheel here now. And to see Not Gravity with another time penalty. These guys are just giving it the full beans, pushing each other to the absolute limits. Some incredible racing here in this series. Love watching it. You can see Ginnett to win it, dive into the pits this time around. 29 lap old mediums decides that's plenty for those. Not sure what he's going to put himself on. Hoxid is there in P5, 8 seconds back from Ginnett at the moment. Ginnett is fit the softest tire. Hoxid is at the new fastest lap with 121.274 for the Aston Martin tonight. That's going to see Ginnett to win it, drop down to P9 with that pit. So we'll see if he's able to claw back much from that. Slayrise makes a move happen on Catman. These guys are coming around the back as well. Not seeing sure we're going to see any move happen here. We might just. Nothing yet. Skrenzy is holding that lead now pretty graciously over Lightwork, who's just 4.1 seconds off the pace. Having to battle against Skrenzy's teammate there, Lancey, has been able to allow Skrenzy just to get the edge and get that little bit of advantage, some clear air, and just set in some consistent lap times. See what he's able to do through the remainder of this. Hawksid with another fastest lap. He is flying out on track at the moment. He's up into P4, 6.4 seconds off of Lancey. Might be trying to make something happen here in the later stages of this race. As Ford is going to get around Jacko now. And you see these guys have been battling throughout the races. No Jug is also going to be making a move onto Jacko, and he gets that done pretty easily before this next corner. Slots in nicely, gets back on the throttle, rotates his car well. Going to be hunting down that Ferrari next. A-Dub is into the pits. He's on this fresh set of mediums, 17 seconds off of Ginnett. No Jug has got himself another penalty for track violations. So Ford on those 30-lap old hards. So he's been running those since lap 13. Might be able to make this one stop work pretty well for him. He's been able to move up and down the standing a couple times. Had a spin there and was able to claw his way back up to P5 at the moment. Not sure what else he's going to have, as he has got No Jug right behind him on a lot fresher mediums. So not only is it a softer tire, so it's going to have that extra traction, but a lot fresher. And it looks like this move may be done and dusted there for No Jug, making it happen on Forward. Ginnett makes it past Jacko on those fresh softs. So Ginnett is going to be flying, working his way back up through the standings as Lancey and Lightwork are still going at it. Lightwork has dived into the pits now on those 30-lap old tires. I imagine we're going to see him, running those soft tires. See what he's going to be able to pull back for us now. Hawksid slides up into that P3 spot. Ginnett to win it with the fastest lap on the 120.5 from the McLaren team there. So great lap time from him there. He's able to close down that gap massively on those drivers ahead of him. Going to see what he's got for No Jug, as they are almost side by side coming into this corner. If he's going to have the traction to make it work around the outside, he just might. As they come in close, make a little bit of contact, bang wheels, and that's going to allow Ginnett through. So pretty clean other than that little bump. So I'm not sure if that's something that's going to get reported or not, but Ginnett able to keep his car on rails here, as got 7 seconds to close in on Hawksid up ahead. Forward is ever so close to No Jug up ahead. As Forward and Jacko are now the only two drivers in the top 10 to not have penalties. Slayra is the only other driver on track without penalties. So great efforts from them to keep their cars on track, not get caught up in any incidents or anything like that as of right now. See if they're able to finish that way. Ginnett is 2 laps in on that soft tires, and it seems like he's been able to make good improvements, close down a second already. As you're going to see Lancey make his dive into the pits, he's going to be fitting the soft tires as well. So that's going to promote Hawksid up into P2 for the moment. Ginnett is up into P3 now, so impressive stuff from him. As we're going to see Lancey in the pits coming out now in P7 with Lightwork just ahead of him. So Lightwork was able to get the jump there on Lancey there through all their battling throughout this race. He might have just done enough to finish this on a high. Alma Jacko's come into the pits now for a fresh set of soft tires. Sees everyone else doing it, says he wants to go at it. A-Dub on the 2-lap old mediums there has worked his way back up into 8th spot. It's pretty close to where he was previously running. And to see everyone in the field starting to spread out a bit now, as Forward's got himself just a second's gap, just a little over a second on No Jug up ahead, which is going to see quite the changing in the standings here, as well as we're going to see Forward is going to capitalize massively on some of this action going on. He's 17 seconds off the leader, so he's not going to claim that with penalties right now, but he should have the gap done on Hawksid there to see himself get up to P2 at least if he can stay penalty free, and that's going to allow Lightwork maybe a shot at a podium here. My math is not that great, so I'm not even going to try to do that math for you, but if anyone wants to do that, go ahead. So now that everyone's done their final pit stops just outside of DRS, not going to see too much happen, and Lightwork is able to get back in DRS, though, as I say that, up Forward, so maybe still something on the cards for Forward here, as he wants to make every move he can. You never know with these many penalties where you're going to end up in the shaking order once the race is over. So Forward's still on 33-lap old tires, so the fact that he's running this high up in the standings at the moment is impressive in and of itself, let alone seeing himself in podium contention at the moment. I see a yellow flag in Sector 3, and that is going to be and Aston Martin. And that is Hoxid had a spin there, so see who's able to capitalize on that, if anyone. And they're going to see him fall behind forward and Lightwork as they split that beautifully there. So Hoxid going to be a little disappointed with himself right now for falling that far back. He was leading the race not long ago. Skrenzi, Ginnet, and No Jug are your top three at the moment, followed by Lightwork and Forward. But we've got a lot of penalties coming into effect here. Lightwork is just teetering inside and outside of that range there of No Jug for DRS. Same with Forward behind him. Not sure he's going to get it. He's not going to get DRS, and neither of them will on this next stretch. So anything to play for, as Hoxid is just within a second of Forward still, so he may still be able to make something happen there. But Lancey is on the charge. Slayer has a 3-second penalty. You may see Lancey make a move here. Lancey was running in the lead of this race for quite a while, and same with Skrenzi. Those two were both holding P1 and P2, switching around a little bit. But we'll see what they're able to do in the final sectors now, as Hoxid is not making it easy for a pass here. It's trying to close him off. Not the cleanest of racing, not like you want to see here, as Lancey's going to give it back just a little bit. Hoxid not giving enough room on track, I don't think, but I'm no steward. No Jug is able to get close there on Lightwork, not able to make anything happen, as Lancey and Hoxid come around that corner, and Lancey's going to come out ahead there. Lancey on those soft tires, not sure there's going to be much Hoxid can do about that at the moment. El Majacco is just 6/10 off of A-Dub now, so he may be able to grab P8 before this is all over. He will definitely grab P8 with penalties, but I'm sure he would much rather like to pass on track. See, Lancey now is 6/10 off of Ford up ahead. He's on a lot fresher, a lot softer rubber, so he's going to definitely have the advantage in this. Going to see if Forward's going to be able to hold him off for these final 10 laps of this race. As you see, top spots here, Skrenzi, Ginnet, Lightwork, No Jug, Forward's going to be gaining the most out of all of these drivers come the end. See what he's able to make happen here from Lancey on Forward, if he's got him this time around. Looks like he just might. As there you have it, Forward is now behind Lancey. As Lancey is going to be chasing down No Jug up ahead. No Jug had a spin very early on in the race. Saw him down pretty much at the end of the field, but he's done beautifully to come back from that. A-Dub is just a few tenths off of El Majacco now, but with a slower tire compound, not sure he's going to be able to make too much happen. As Hoxid is now just about a second behind Forward up ahead. He's going to want to try to stay in this DRS train as long as he can, try to make something happen late into this race. Not sure he's going to be able to, though. We'll see what happens. We're on lap 49 and 58, so 9 laps left to go. These guys have been doing pretty great. We've only seen 4 people DNF so far, which we'd love to see. And then again, remember at the beginning of the series, we weren't seeing too many finishers. It seems like everyone's come to terms with their cars now and figured out how to manage this. Lancey is teetering within that DRS range, not able to close down that gap too much, but he has closed it down a little bit, and we're going to see McLaren of Ginnet to win it is spun, it looks like, and there you see him on track there. All these drivers doing well to avoid that. So unfortunate for Ginnet. I'm going to see him drop down a few spots, but everyone around him is going to be happy about that, because that puts him right ahead of Forward. So going to be a close battle between them now, as you see Lancey closing in on No Jug. Not enough room to make anything happen through this part of the track. See what he's got through this next section. He goes a bit wide there, as No Jug is just going to slot behind. Not sure he's trying to fight that one too much. Didn't appear so. And you can see Forward is just 5/10 back on Guinnett. Guinnett on the soft tire though should be able to hold Forward behind him for the remainder of this race. Hoxid is back up there, making a move around the outside and making it work. It looks like, yes he is, comes out around that corner ahead. Should love to see for the Aston Martin fans. Got 8 laps left to go. A few people still jockeying around for these final positions. May see some late overtakes into the final bits of the track here. I know Forward maybe wants to get as close as he possibly can to try to gain as much time as possible from those penalties that everyone else is going to be facing. So Forward and Almajaco, the only 2 remaining drivers without penalties. Want to give a huge shout out to them for that. Not something you see every day. Especially after 58 laps of Australia, is nothing to shake a stick at. Forward though is going to get a penalty as I say that and ruin his chance. Commentator's curse right there at its finest for you. So Forward is going to be a little disappointed with that, but he's still going to make massive gains at the end of this race. You see Guinnett is closing in on the Alpine there of No Jug, just 4/10 behind him. It's on a lot fresher tires, going to be nearing the end of their advantage though, and he's going to have a lot more penalties to have to deal with. So at the moment he is going to be losing out to Hoxid, Forward, and maybe not Jacko. No, he should be fine on Jacko for this one. But you can see everyone's penalties. Skrenzi's got himself 6 seconds worth of penalties. Lightwork isn't going to be able to close that gap enough to make that a race win for him at the moment. He's still got 6 laps left, but unlikely he's going to be able to make something happen with that. As you can see, Guinnett is now making a move around the outside of that Alpine. I think No Jug is just going to let him have that, knowing he's going to get that back in the end. Let's see, Hoxid made a move on Forward and was able to get around him, but Forward is going to gain that back in the end as well. So No Jug is losing a bit of pace now to Guinnett. I think Ginnett's going to be, Ginnett's been pushing as much as he can to try to stretch out away from all those drivers behind him. Some good attempt there. With 6 laps left to go. See, they're caught in a DRS train, so Hoxid not able to make anything happen on No Jug down that stretch, not able to close that gap down since they were both in that DRS window. DRS won't make too much of a difference down that, and it'll just come down to your drag and how fast you can come into that first corner and how much speed you carry throughout is where you want to make the most gains if you can on the straights. Hoxid is closing in though. He's trying to make it happen around the outside here. No Jug isn't cutting up much contest. No Jug only has 3 seconds worth of penalties, so he isn't too worried about the outcome here. As he makes it happen right back coming into this corner, and they make a little bit of contact, bang wheels a little bit. But No Jug is able to go through there, and they are still going wheel to wheel down this. Here is Hawksid going to be able to stick it back up the inside. It looks like he does, but they still going wheel to wheel here. Coming around this final corner, now it's going to be a challenge not to spin out, to make neither one of them get on the power too aggressively. No Jug's going to have to slot back in behind Hawksid and try to make something happen down this next corner. As you can see, Hawksid is harvesting a little bit of ERS. That back flashing light is going to give it away there for you. He's been pushing hard all lap. I don't think he's ever had much more than 50%. But speaking of, we're going to check in with Baba Yaga here. See what kind of... He's actually on about 50% ERS. Remember, last season we saw him holding on to about 90% halfway through the race. So, man knows how to save. As No Jug is going to fall just about outside of a second. Behind Hawksid at the moment. Forward 1.5 behind No Jug. And El Majacco at 10.7 off of forward has not claimed any penalties yet. 4 laps left to go. I'm sure some of these guys are going to be real ready for this race to end. But here you can see Skrenzy's got himself up to 6 seconds worth of penalties. So if Lightwork can close down within half a second, he should be able to grab this win. Not Gravity's got himself another 3 seconds worth of penalties. See him down in 10th spot. He's got 15 seconds. He's not going to lose out any spots at the moment. See, Lightwork is going to be pushing as much as he can, I imagine. It's on 60% or so. So he's going to want to capitalize as much on this. He's got a gap down to 3.1 seconds. So if he can hold it within about 2.5, I know he'll be safe in the long run. So this race is far from over with 3 laps left. We got everything to play for position-wise. In the top 5 or 6 spots, there's going to be some major shifting around from these guys. So excited to see where everyone's going to end up. But Lightwork is just able to fall back outside that range, fighting it back. Skrenzy has coped brilliantly, the whole Williams team actually, against Lightwork's brutal onslaught. We're missing the other half of J-Dunk. I'm expecting to see some pretty cool things from them throughout the season. I know both of them are very talented drivers, as Lightwork has shown us here tonight. So this will be a very, very interesting season, as we're going to see a pit, actually. Who is that went into the pits? Not sure who that was. See, Baba Yaga is just half a second off of Jordan, though, down in 14th spot at the moment. Lightwork is down 2.5 seconds off of Skrenzy. El Majacco is the only driver to not be in. See, it was Catman that dove into the pits there. And in 12th spot, just might have been running out of tire life there. Need something to guarantee he could finish. So there you can see the timing differences between everyone and their penalties, where they're going to be lining out. So our closest drivers on track at the moment are going to be Ginnett and Lancey. Ginnett just 9.5 or 0.95 off of Ginnett, or off of Lancey, but he does have a lot of penalties he's going to have to account for. So not going to be able to make that stick in the long run there. Hawksid, another driver with a lot of penalties, and P5 there in the Aston Martin's on 15 seconds. Same with Gravity down in P10. Not Gravity isn't going to be losing out on that in the end. Lightwork has now got this gap down to 1.7 seconds. It was 3 seconds a couple laps ago, so he's definitely on the charge now, wanting to stay as close as possible. Ginnett got himself just inside a second there for a moment. You're going to see a yellow flag in Sector 1. Might have been a little bit of contact there between a couple drivers, but they all keep moving. Or no, we won't. So you see, is that forward is in the wall. Lancey has retired from the session as well. So we're going to see a DNF from Lancey with just 2 laps left to go. That is rather unfortunate from him. he is going to be kicking himself for that. No Jug has got himself in 3-second, another 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. That's going to promote El Jacko up into 6th spot. Forwards climb back into 7th now with that DNF from Lancey. That is unfortunate, heartbreaking stuff here. Not how you want your race to end, especially so close to the end here. Slightwork has almost got himself back into DRS range of Scarenzi up ahead, so that is a phenomenal job from him. Just going to shout out Valentine. Had the predictions almost spot on there at the top 2 spots. If things stay as they are for this final lap, we got one more time around. These guys got to go. Just got to bring it home. See what these guys are able to do up here in the front. Scarenzi is going to be trying to push that as much as he can. I think he is out of ERS though. Yes, he is. See now within DRS range, Lightwork, incredible charge. He knew what he was doing, saving it up there in the end. That was brilliant battle all through this race between Scarenzi, Lancey, and Lightwork, those top 3 drivers, with a little bit of a cameo experience from Hawksid and No Jug as well, both of them leading for a few moments briefly, as Lightwork might be trying to make this move done, get this move done on track here. Really wanting to fight for this win. See what he's able to do as they're coming around now to this final sector of the track. You're going to see Lightwork is right there on the tail of Scarenzi. They're coming around to the final line here. He's going to be giving it full beans. Is he able to make it? He's closed down, closing. As he just barely doesn't pass him on track, but he is going to take the win for your first race of Season 2 in this Endurance Series. You're going to see Lightwork followed closely by Scarenzi there for the top 2 spots, and that's going to be Hawksid claiming 4th spot right for the moment as No Jug brings home the other podium spot there in the Alpine. It's going to be Hawksid P4, Ginnett P5. Almajacco is going to be in 6th at the moment. See if he's able to change that when they cross the line. No, there, and he's not. And that's going to see a Forward down in 7th, and A-Dub is going to be in that 8th spot. Gravity in the 9th, and Valentine, you are spot on with your predictions. I'm going to need you voting for me in some of these league races coming up here. I could use it. Use the help there. But a phenomenal race from start to finish there. We did end up seeing 5 DNFs with Lancey DNFing on lap 56 of 58. Unfortunate for him. So that is going to be 13 finishers for you here tonight in a phenomenal race, start to finish. Lightwork was a man on a mission from the beginning. He had that chip on his shoulder with a bad qualifying session, starting P10, finishing the race on the number 1 spot. So great from him. Getting it to win it is going to get the driver of the day. He was putting in some incredible lap times and consistency throughout this race as well. So that's great to see. As you can see, the podium guy celebrations are starting at the moment. Let's see a Haas up on the number 1 spot. Take a picture. It might never happen again. You're going to see top 3 teams for the night are going to be Haas, followed by Williams, and then the Alpine as well. So should be an interesting mix for this constructors fight. I think here we haven't even seen all of these guys out on the track even yet, with one of the Haas drivers missing tonight. So I'm sure they will be capitalizing on this win here and just leading the charge for the remainder if they can play their cards just right. Thank you everybody for tuning in for this. This was a bit of a long race, but if you stuck it out with me, then congratulations. You're getting a Christmas present from me. I'm going to see here Lightwork in the number 1 spot, followed by Scarenzi, and then No Jug, Hawksid, Ginnett, Almajacco, P6, Forward P7, making that one-stop strategy work. A-Dub in P8, Not Gravity in P9, Slayerized P10, Catman in 11, Jordam, Baba Yaga, and Lancey bring up 12, 13, and 14. And then you see there some DNFs from everybody. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and we're gonna get some interviews rolling here. So don't go anywhere, because this is where the fun begins. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, there he is.
How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. You guys did not disappoint once again. That was incredibly nerve-wracking the entire time.
Yeah, that was just a long race. Australia's just not my track,
No.
and pushing on 75% hards at the end was just not my
Yeah,
cup of tea.
no, not at all. But you made that one stop work. It was only you and Gravity were the only two to make a one stop work.
Yeah, I bet his tires were just as bad too.
I imagine so. See who we getting for these?
I'm trying to get light work here. Oh, I just invited you instead. Kappa guy.
Thank you.
You know how many finishers we had tonight?
Um, 13.
That's pretty good.
No, yeah, it was
Pretty
pretty
good.
good. I thought so.
Super clean up until that first safety car that took out Buck and Villeneuve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was unfortunate. There's a little bit of argy-bargy from a couple drivers, but other than that, I'd say it was a pretty clean race all through.
All right, is there anyone else we want to get in here?
Oh,
I
you
know
know,
Jacko said he couldn't. Sconesy said he was sick.
I was gonna say maybe Screnzy if we could hop him in here. Telling me that man was sick and fighting for that win that long.
Little Sconesy flu game.
All right, so light works here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yo, how's it going? After what a race! First off, I just gotta say, what a race! You were on the hunt there from pretty much the beginning all the way to the end. What was it like from your perspective, start to finish?
It was I don't even know. It was at the beginning. It was frustrating. I got stuck behind Lancey for like 80% of the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried everything. I just couldn't get by him. And then I just knew the undercut was the only way to get him. And
Mm-hmm.
after I was ahead, I just knew pitting the lap earlier was better. And then from there, it was just I was just aiming for a podium. I didn't actually think I'd catch Scorenzy for the lead. I know he was like 25 seconds ahead after I pitted, so
Yeah.
I just a couple guys spun, and then I saw the gap, and it was like shrinking by 2 seconds every lap, and just kept pushing. Tried not getting a penalty as well.
Mm-hmm. That was a good solid drive there. Were you just aiming for a? You said you're aiming for a podium. Did you think you'd just try to damage limitation that qualifying accident, or did you just want to go out there and have fun and see what happened?
Oh yeah, I knew the 100% would have been a lot of chances for opportunity. I actually enjoyed not having a lot of safety cars. Made the race more based on pace rather than
Mm-hmm.
just like luck and stuff. But um, yeah, that even with the quali incident was kind of unfortunate. Just kind of wrong place, wrong time. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was just trying to have some fun, and at the end aimed for the podium and got the win. So I'm couldn't have been happier about that.
That's good. Yeah, no, that was an impressive drive. You know, Gonna be expecting a few more wins out of the Haas garage this season. I know you both are pretty fast drivers, so looking forward to seeing what you guys have for us for the remainder of this season.
Congrats on the win, light work. I forget. You've raced in a couple 100% races before, right?
Yeah, just haven't been full time till I think this
Right.
season.
Yeah. So has your opinion on them changed over time, or did you kind of enjoy it from the start, or what was your kind of
Oh,
thought process?
yeah, I actually enjoy the 100%. To be honest, I like how it's not every week because it is get a bit tiring if it was every week, but having it every 2 weeks actually makes it interesting. It's a good separation from like the regular 50%.
Right. And it's been interesting, like watching how these races have played out over time, where sometimes there'll be like three, four, that many safety cars in a race, and other times like tonight where a lot of people can just play out their strategies however they want. So, uh, congrats on the win tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it. No, but I agree with that. Like playing out the strategy, it's so hard to do that in a 50% race because it's like there's always safety cars. But like the
Yeah.
100% race, there's so much to make up. Even if you like spin, like just makes it so much more fun to race.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of the guys who finished in the top five, they ended up having a spin at some point in the race, and in like 10 laps, they were back to where they were, which was really cool to see. Watch it all play out.
Yeah, it was crazy how everyone was. At first, everyone was so close. Like after like 30, 40 laps, everyone was like top 10 were or top 7 at least were within like 10 seconds of each other.
Yeah, and it was like
But
fourth through eighth, you guys weren't even half a second apart.
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
Like
and then I think there was a turning point there where, like, in my case, like, I was scheduling myself to pit again and go, like, medium or soft off the hards. And I think a lot of people had that decision to make, like, do I just carry on to the end, or do I, you know, pit
mm,
again?
yeah, I think at the end, I don't think anyone actually thought um, like the softs would have been that good at the end. Like everyone being on old tires, like they were insane how quick the softs were.
They really were. Yeah, you and some of those other guys, they were closing down those gaps massively. I think if there was a few less penalties, the race would have been a lot different. But it was super exciting watching it all close down, come down to that final lap.
Yeah, for sure. That I knew I was gonna get him. If I didn't get a penalty, I just wanted to get him on track, which would have been fun. It was so close. I knew I would have come down to that straight, so I saved a bit of ERS for that straight, and it was so close.
It was, yeah. I was actually on stream. I was saying that I knew you would want to pass him on track, and I couldn't tell coming across the line. I really couldn't tell if you had him or not. I don't think you did in the end, but it was
No,
right there.
yeah, it doesn't even matter. It was even if I ended up second, I would have been happy with the result.
Well, I can say that you are now the fourth different race winner we've had in the 100%. Second from NFS, behind NFS Buck, who won in Mexico in season one.
Damn, that's crazy. Only 4 different winners. That's surprising.
Yeah, it was Majako won 3, Meeb won 3, Buck won 1, and then you.
That's crazy. I mean, it just shows it's these things are so crazy. It's instead of like about pace, it's like consistency. So like, it's crazy though.
Yep, for sure. Got any other questions, Gab?
Nothing I can think of at the moment. Yeah, I'm just kind of speechless. Honestly, that was a great race to watch. Thank you guys for putting that on. That was insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you as always for commentating.
My privilege. Thinking towards the
Yeah,
end
I
of the
don't know how you
season,
guys do it.
gives
Like
me
2 straight hours of it.
gives me something to do.
This guy's just itching for that season finale when Crash comes back and
I
steps
am.
in the
Yes. But yeah, got a couple of you guys up on my spin counter already as well. Maybe do a reward for instead of most overtakes in a season, see who gets most spins. see what shakes loose.
I usually average like one a race.
Yeah, just
I'm
about.
gonna have to cut that out now. Or we've got a little bit better group
Yeah, and
racing, and like that's something we need to talk about too. Is like the grid, season 1 compared to season 2 is just insane.
Mm-hmm. So
like,
I
think about where Majako's pace was today versus where it was like all season last season.
last season I think he only was in under threat of losing the lead a few times in a couple races, and it was surprising to see him so far down the order this week. But I think it'll be a great season that we're going to be watching here.
He's 100% still a contender because I think when you talk about consistency, he was. Majako probably finished on the podium like every single race last season.
I'm pretty sure he did. And he
the-
also managed to not get any penalties all night tonight. He was the only driver, so I think that is definitely going to be something that comes into play this season.
Yep. And another shocker was Villeneuve, because he was one of the most like consistent dudes, in all of last season.
Mm-hmm.
I think he ended up in P3 championship.
I believe so.
Which if you looked at the grid tonight, it wouldn't show that he'd got P3, but he's one of the more consistent guys on the grid.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, he ended up.
That's
P4.
really all it takes, is consistency on track and showing up every other week. So
Absolutely, I'm excited to see where this one goes for sure.
Yep, but we'll be in Miami in 2 weeks, and then Imola will be our first sprint race.
Oh yeah, we do have a sprint, huh? Sweet. Well, if you don't have any more questions, I say we can shut her down for the night. But
yep, sounds good.
Yeah, again, thank you to everyone who tuned in and still watching, and thank you to all the drivers for showing up and making it so fun. Congratulations to Lightwork there on winning that one, getting his first win in this endurance series, and we'll be back in 2 weeks, like Forward said, at Miami, so don't forget to tune in for that one. And we will catch y'all on the flip side.